Do any of y'all play sports?
I used to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think we all played sports here in this room.
Yeah, pretty much.
Some failed worse than others, but
Who, Josh?
I think he's talking about himself.
oh no, I'm looking right at it.
Yeah, no, he's all
So the thing with sports is that there's coaches that'll actually put on that role, the fatherly role, of like instilling discipline and being strict and hard on their players.
Yeah.
By way of positive intent. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. There are it's kind of like it's hard to know who has these good intentions for you, and a lot of coaches will kind of play that father figure because they want the best for you. They want to see their team succeed because obviously it benefits them. They get their own ego boost, they make more money, whatever it is. Maybe they'll make it up to the higher leagues, but it's the challenging thing about this is being able to decipher who you can actually trust, who wants what's best for you. Because people will say they do, but does that mean it? No, not at all. Like, it kind of like it takes time to understand that. So if you've had the same coach or a mentor maybe for a while, I think you can kind of you can see that person, and if you really know who they are, then it makes it a little bit more clear. If that answers your question.
I'll say something about that. I think if we're talking about the right coach, I mean like how coach should be. I think their goal isn't to bully anyone or in a way of like embarrass any player because they're doing bad. I think their end goal is make the player the best they could. And the reason is because if those players don't do good, coach isn't doing good either. He's not going to be able to move up to the league. He's not going to be the coach of like the year or whatever. They're not going to get any type of award and they're not going to get any accomplishment because without the team, the coach is nothing, and the team without the coach is also nothing. So they both need each other. Now, obviously, there's the coaches that are doing things for money. They're doing things just to like. I mean, there's some people that think they want to be a coach, just like how some people think they want to go to college or something, but they don't know what their end goal is. They don't know what purpose they're going for. I mean, like people like that is 100% what you're saying is right. They shouldn't. They're not going to be like the good coaches for you. You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to having the right mindset, going whatever. What's it called? Whatever profession you're going for. So.
Yeah,
Just comes
I
down
don't
to that.
think there is a right way to coach.
Exactly.
No, obviously not. No.
Exactly.
For somebody, it's going to push them to become the greatest of all time, but for somebody else, it's going to push them to a depressed state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just the way you're built, the way you.
But they aren't good coaches, they're bad coaches. So that means there is some kind of right and wrong way of coaching.
I think there's no right way of coaching in terms of pushing people to the next level. I think
you just got to know how to address each situation.
I think a bad coach is made of whether they can tactically know the game, whatever it is.
Or how much they care, the intention
of the
coach.
I think that's number one.
Because I think we all know what a good coach looks like.
Yeah.
But for the most part, in sports, you have to be tough. Yeah. You have to be a tough coach to make the players tough.
I also think it's important to know what Georgie said, having a coach that's good for you, because everyone learns differently.
Yeah.
So let's say the coach, let's say they were bullied, or that's what helped them grow. Cool, it worked for them, but that might not be the same thing that's going to work for you. I mean, coaching is kind of subjective in the way that everyone has a different learning style. Yeah. What works for this guy might not work for you. So if a coach can kind of address
each people different ways, is the best way you can do it.
Yep. You kind of need to understand your style of learning and how your coach's style of teaching too.
Yeah.
See if they mix
and that comes with an experience, to be honest.
It does, yeah. If it mixes well, pursue it. See what you can get out of it.
Keith, did bullying personally work for you at all, or was it only push you down a rabbit hole?
I would say it pushed me down a rabbit hole. I became more introverted.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm a natural extrovert, but like I separated myself from people because I didn't know their intent. I like volunteered myself into groups just for me to like feel attacked when certain remarks were made. So
what pushes you personally? Like, let's say you needed a coach right now to kind of get you to your full potential. What do you think they need to do for you personally?
Honestly, this goes back to what I was saying before about actions speaking louder than words. If I'm listening to a coach and he's telling me a lot of things. I'm going off observation and seeing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's like my number one thing to learn from. So, yeah, I was just learning from his
Great.
actions.
Yeah, I'm one of those people too that words are great, but if you can't, especially I think this podcast, like what we say is great, but if we don't show that we are personally all growing, we're getting nowhere. I think that's about any person in life. I mean, who the fuck likes a person that says, you know what, this is a great idea. Okay, so did you do it? Fuck no. So what the fuck are you telling me?
Right.
I think we all know somebody like that.
Dude, that's the same exact argument you hear for college. Like, why am I in this entrepreneurial class when this guy hasn't even started his own business? Or why should I learn from this guy when, like, you go to a business class, your professor hasn't started anything. Like, people will always say, why should I learn from him? He didn't even do anything. And there is a point. There's some truth to that.
There's more than some truth.
Yeah. Keith, I really want to say that it really does suck how society kind of splits up into groups, and you have to wait to find out whether or not you're going to be accepted into one of these groups or not, because people kind of go by crowd. It makes them feel stronger, their pride grows bigger when they know they have other people with them, which is natural, nothing against that. But these groups don't accept people that they won't find like them, and they're easy to judge. They're quick to judge people.
There's beauty in that though, because during my time of being alone, I adapted to that, and so now I'm okay with people leaving and staying in my life.
That's great. And there's also beauty in the way that you just dodge the bullet. Like, you don't want to be in a group where these generic assholes are gonna fucking talk about, yeah, I know, we don't like you, we don't accept you. Like, fuck that, bro. I'm saying, yeah, for real.
You could not
Who's
be an
impersonating?
actor.
Yeah,
That voice was crazy.
yo, I'm trying to make my shit work. Fuck you guys.
Good impersonation.
Yeah, fuck you.
That was good. So Keith. So
Switch
someone,
up. Sorry. Switch up. He goes, that voice was crazy. Yeah, good.
anyways, so how can you? What would you do? What would you tell someone how to embrace their flaws? Like, what was the first step into embracing those types of things?
So look at the place within yourself that is dark. So I believe that we all have a shadow, and we all have a self that we try to
Hide
keep
from the world.
Yeah, you try to hide and keep from, under wraps and stuff like that. I would say look at the darkness within yourself and see how, determine how do you feel about it. If you don't like it, if you feel weird about it, then you can reflect on what you want to do based upon that. Do you want to improve yourself? Do you want to better yourself? Because overall, you should love yourself. And when I say love yourself, I mean love the light and the dark within yourself, not just the light.
Because you need the dark with the light. You
Yes.
need it both. You need a type of balance in yourself.
Yin and yang.
There we
How do you
go.
know what's hot if
Yeah.
you don't know what's cold?
Exactly.
Love that.
Keith, with what you said, I love what you said, but I think there has to be an actual step in there.
Mhm.
So, for example, I know for Mike, what works for him is seeking isolation, being in a room and just no phone, no nothing, and thinking.
Mhm.
Because you can tell somebody to do that, but like you said, you want the action. So, do you is it while you're showering that you think about the dark thought? Is it during meditation? Where is it that you go, all right, this is where I need to go think about my darkness and how to just
Your
embrace it?
flow state test, pretty much
Yeah.
something that really makes you think about this stuff.
How does someone look deep within themselves?
Right. So, I would say that's subjective because it determines what the environment is like. Being by yourself may not be the way for you. Being around people may be the way for you. I myself work better being by myself, meditating actually.
Yeah.
In my room or
Bingo.
where I feel most comfortable at, and so close my eyes and just internalize all of these thoughts and feelings. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't actually had the time to look at the darkness within myself due to doing a lot of things with people and pouring myself into a lot of people. So at this moment in time, I'm actually trying to find time to have time to myself.
It's good.
You really do need that because that's like those types of moments. Like I spend a lot of time by myself. I shut off a lot of people from my life, and especially my family. When I'm living with my family, I used to shut them off, just sit in my room. It's like a blessing and a curse being by yourself. You can find a lot about yourself, but you can also find you also need to be around people. And I started to realize that like a little bit after the fact that I ruined a bunch of relationships, that being around people and being with people, you kind of see what resonates with you, what type of people resonates with you, and you kind of can base that off of like who you kind of are.
Something I wanted to ask is, you found that you perform best with meditation or whatever. Did you find that through trial and error, like seeing what you work best with?
I would say I found that during the pandemic, I
Uh-huh.
always knew that. Actually, I always knew that being by myself was better for me. You know, when I was in situations where I had to separate myself from people. Right?
Yeah.
But like being by myself in the pandemic, I was in my room alone, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a couple of breakdowns, mental breakdowns, crying, you know, because of the thoughts.
Okay.
So, but you know, something great came out of that. I kid you not, I was working out every single day from like before I go to sleep and when I woke up, every single day.
You were breaking out?
Working out.
Working out.
We're working out. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
You know,
that's good.
so I will work out, stretch, meditate, and this was a routine up until I went back to school around people. So that all changed when I went back to school. So now it's like a rebuild.
Yeah. But you have tried being around people and seeing if that works for you too.
Yeah, and right now I am around, you know, good-loving people. It's just more so I'm pouring too much energy out.
Of course. Yeah. So is that the same advice you would give to other people? Like you learned that through experience, that your isolation is what works for you.
Yeah, I would say to people, make sure you know how much energy, time, and money sometimes that you're putting into a situation, a person, or even on the business side, an organization.